So let's call the February 18th meeting of the Middleton Arts Committee to order. And the first item of business are the minutes of January 21st.
I move approval. This is Katie.
I can second. This is Meg.
Okay, so Katie moves and Meg seconds. Any discussion? All in favor,
Aye.
say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. The first agenda item is Public Arts Master Plan discussion. And I believe, Meg, did you had some ideas about this? Is that true?
Yes, well, I mean, I think it's just like been on our agenda for a long time. So I think we need to make some progress on moving forward on this so that we aren't losing that workshop that we worked on with Rochelle. I know it's a lot of work, but it does need to be done. It seems kind of daunting, but I was kind of wondering, I was looking at it and I wonder if it just needs like editing a little bit. And not to say that we're going to get rid of this one, so I think we would still need to keep this in our archives, but just have like an updated one as well. Because obviously, if you look at the timeline and you go to 2020, we are not where we want it to be.
I mean, are there substantive items you want to change aside from the timeline?
I mean, I have like notes on mine, but I'm not sure that over Zoom is a good place to go through that. I don't know. That's a good question. We need to bring that up. How are we going to go about editing and revising these? Do we have one person who's like the key updater and we all send feedback and it gets organized?
We don't have a subcommittee. Do we have a subcommittee? A master plan subcommittee?
I don't know. Do we?
We talked about.
We don't. So we have the Art Walk working group, the developer working group, maintenance group, marketing and communications, and tourism, but I don't believe we have a master plan one.
Do we need one? Or should we have one?
Probably.
I did have a couple of thoughts on this if you guys want me to share them, but first I need to check. My coworker is trying to start another meeting and I think he's having technical difficulties. So when we went through the process with Rochelle, one idea that she floated, which I thought was maybe something we'd want to pursue, would be instead of having this lengthy document, which, you know, like Meg said, we need to keep this in our archives, and I think a lot of the goals are still relevant. But what Rochelle had suggested was instead maybe looking at having what we could call either a strategic plan, or I think it almost might just be like the Arts Committee's work plan, which the committee could recommend approval of to the council and get the council to endorse it. And she had put this document together, which I included in your packet, and it has one page for overall goals, one page for downtown, and a typo there, one for parks, trails, and conservancy, one for welcoming entrances and gateway features, developing new places, overcoming obstacles. And I think we might want to add another page. I mean, there are lots of edits we need to do to this, and I think we need to work with the committee members that we have now and decide if this is still the right priority, and we need to flesh some of these things out. But I think we should, at the very least, add another page for the Parmenter corridor, because that was the spine of public art in the original master plan. And then, so one question would be, do we want to do a full update of the full plan, or a quick action like strategic plan or work plan? And then I think we need to look at, do we still agree with the ideas and the timing? Add a page for Parmenter's corridor if we decide to do this as like a work plan. And then I was thinking, if this is eventually going to be something we send to the city council, it would really be nice if we could format it larger and actually show some imagery on it, because some of these things, like they aren't really going to understand. But if we had like a little icon, image of artwork, and then they would remember like, oh, well, artwork, not that, but project, like we might put a picture of that in there so that they would remember what it is. And some of the things are done, like the quadrant rust removal. So we just need to like, if we're going to go with this option, the work plan, I think we need to just keep it fresh because, we haven't continued to update it and some of the things are done now.
But that would be the simplest thing to do, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Question, when you say Parmenter corridor, are you talking about Parmenter Street from Terrace Avenue to University, or what is being discussed?
I think, Molly, it would be the whole Parmenter corridor, all the way from the south end, well, primarily from Terrace Avenue north to the city limits, but we're like along Parmenter Street from the roundabout to Century, there's a lot of development activity there. So I think that part for sure would be important to include as well.
And we already have the decoration on the salt storage shed, so you could say it extends all the way up there as well, I suppose.
Yep.
Abby, are you saying then, if we do this, what I think is a nice simpler version, then we don't have the text in the comp plan, we just have this?
Well, when you say comp plan, do you mean the public art master plan?
I'm sorry, yes.
Yeah, so I think we would still keep that because that has a lot of definitions and more details, but it wouldn't really be our primary working document anymore because the thing about this is it's so comprehensive that
Mhm.
it's kind of a little bit overkill for what we're going to be able to do with the budget that we have available.
Right. Okay.
So how should we proceed?
Should we vote on whether everyone agrees that we should move forward with Abby's suggestion on number 1? Is that needed?
Would you like to make that motion?
Sure, if it's needed.
Okay.
Okay, sorry. You
Go
can
ahead. No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I motion to approve Abby's suggestion to update this, what did she call it? A work plan? Strategic plan.
I will second Meg's motion.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
I do still have further discussion on this, so.
And subcommittee, no subcommittee?
Yes, that's what I was gonna say. How do we submit changes, or like who's in charge of that?
Let's have a vote on your motion and second that we agree to continue to proceed with this working document. It's not the full master plan. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. So I suppose the next step then is to form a working group to to make edits and additions that we can then present to the full arts committee and then move it forward to the city council.
Okay, and don't do that by formal motion of the committee because that could potentially mean that we would need to post agendas and minutes of all the working group meeting people. But, I would be happy to help out. Like we could do this probably via Zoom if we had the editable document. We could like literally just, edit it while we're sharing a screen.
Mhm.
Mhm.
I could help too, but I think I would want to change how it's formatted, like you said before. So I'm not even sure that we really need her original document because
Oh,
to me
okay.
it's kind of hard to follow.
Okay.
But we can discuss that more. Whoever's on the
Do
working
you want to, before we do a Zoom together, do you want to like create like the outline for how it should be laid out?
Sure, we can do that.
So is there anything else we should talk about with respect to the master plan? Sounds like we have a plan to move forward.
Does anyone else want to be on the working group, or is it just Abby and I?
I could help.
Okay.
So my question is, every time we update it, do we have to present it to the council? Or when do you present it to the council?
Well, I think the good thing about the reason to present it to the council is not because it would necessarily be required, because it's just a work plan, right?
Right.
But if you want the council to buy into the goals of the committee, then that would be the reason to ask them to vote on it. Once we update it and this committee is comfortable with it. I mean, this could maybe be something that we formally update every year, at the beginning of the year. Every January, we present the new document to the council, or every February or whenever.
Okay.
And that would be a nice touch base anyway with the council, so that they're familiar with the things that the committee is doing. And it would be an opportunity to be like, here's the things we're crossing off the list because they're done. Next up is this, this, and this. We reprioritize this item, whatever it may be.
Yeah, sounds good.
It's a way to keep the city council informed about what we're doing.
Yeah.
And, we have an agenda item here to draft an ordinance to fund public art. And if we could connect these two ideas together for the city council, I think that would be maybe a synergistic way to proceed, to use a fancy word.
Yep, I agree.
Good idea.
So anything else we want to talk about with respect to the master plan? We'll just wait for the working group to convene and bring something back to us as a committee that we can approve and forward to the council.
So you're going to create the framework layout, and then we'll meet and kind of fill in the boxes. Meg, is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, maybe I'll do a few. It depends on how much time I have, but I just feel like it could be better organized, and especially if you want to get pictures in there, it could look a lot nicer. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I don't think we should have to have pictures of every item, but I do think, part of the benefit of this would be getting the council excited about the projects. And if, for an arts committee, I feel like we should have some pretty images.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Show them possibilities.
Mm-hmm.
Should we go on to the next agenda item?
Sure.
Feasibility of an art installation in 2021.
So Meg asked for this to be put on the agenda too. It's a new year, so we have our new annual operating budget of $5,000. And I think she was just excited about, talking about what we might use that money to do and how we might be able to leverage that. There is another option that I was thinking about as well. And I got an email about this, and it's not a huge amount of money. It's only $1,000, but it's pretty minimal work to apply. And it's a small dollar, big impact grant by AARP. And so if we did something that relates to outdoor spaces, public places, some of these items, we could probably apply and get funding, but you have to have your project completed by November.
So we couldn't somehow maybe combine that with the green space next to the village green with the plaza?
No, this is these are quick hit projects.
Yeah.
They don't let you know if you get the money until mid to late April, and they want your project to be done and wrapped up by November.
Maybe we could look at something that we've already done before and do it again. Well, I don't know. See, it's hard with COVID, but I wonder if something we didn't do this, but something like the Unity Project, with something like that, where it was bringing people together, but that's bad because I don't know, we have COVID going on. So I don't know. Or maybe a rotating, we talked about this before, a rotating artwork in the space by City Hall.
That would be awesome. Another idea that I'm just piggybacking off what you were talking about, something we've already done.
Mhm.
What about if we did the warning signs again, but instead of having only the high school students involved, we would have the senior center write the haikus and then have the high school kids do the graphic design work. That's all
Okay.
something that could be done remotely. They could get the list of haikus remote,
Mhm.
and it would give people something that they could do while they're stuck at home.
I love that idea. And it wasn't very expensive either, right? To print those?
Yeah, I feel like it was like $100 per sign or something, and maybe we could try to do like the whole Parmenter corridor, and then we could tie in the spine of art too.
Yeah, we definitely need one at that flashy light on Parmenter.
Which one?
On the
Um,
hill?
yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
So
Another idea is that sign, that giant M at Branch Street and University Avenue. What if it just gets updated? And
I think
it
somebody
would,
was working on that. I got an email recently.
I just feel like that's such an amazing place for some public art, and it's just this sign.
Well, we can't take the sign down. I can tell you there are so many civic organizations involved with that. It would be a very unpopular choice. There have been like many proposals over the years to take it down, and it's not been met well.
Yeah, I know, but like, what if their little signs were on a cooler M or something? I don't know. Just another idea, but I like your haiku idea.
Can we enhance the M?
it's like, isn't it the city branded M?
That thing has been there for long
No,
before
it's
we got the logo.
like boards
Oh, I'm
that
gonna
are
have to look it
hammered,
up. Now I can't even picture it.
the boards that are hammered into an M.
Oops. I can pull it up on Google Maps.
It's on that master plan. There's a photo.
Oh, it's on the master plan?
Yeah.
Oh. That I did
Let me
not
see if I can
remember.
find the page.
Don't look at the screen right now or you'll get car sick. Wait.
Did you? Yeah. No.
Oh, there it is.
Yep.
Oh. That's where the gateway is gonna go.
It could be such a cool, like, welcome to the city art area.
Mhm.
Hmm,
That's probably a little bit more than $1,000 though.
probably.
So should we apply for this grant? And if we do, I guess we need a specific project if we're going to apply for the $1,000.
I mean, it is through the AARP, so I feel like if there were a way to involve seniors. The other thing would be Kathy Olson, who's on the city council and the CDA, was interested in trying to figure out something that could be done in the glass window along the senior center building. So, they have that like really prominent corner, and if you go inside there, there's a small lobby and then there's a stairwell going down, but there's a ledge all along that stairwell. And she thought that that could be like an area for something.
But it's indoors though, right? Not outdoor. You can't see it from the street.
From the street,
It'd be like a window display.
I mean,
yeah.
And it depend on what you did.
a graphic like at Starbucks, something like that.
Or like a mobile hanging inside there from the ceiling, or something lit maybe. I don't know.
That sounds fun.
But
Mhm.
the
You see
deadline,
Jenny Gao's new artwork. She's doing like this layered you seen that, Abby? She's doing this like layered, they're like pieces of fabric and they're supposed to be like layers of earth.
And you walk into it, right?
Yeah,
Oh,
I
wow.
have seen that.
it's pretty
Oh.
cool. I could see that in like something
Yeah.
like that in like a mobile form, I guess.
Yeah. Let me see if I can find her piece.
Sorry, can you guys hear me? I'm not sure if my microphone's working.
We can
Yes.
hear you.
Here you
Okay. I was having problems. Can you remind me the haiku project? What was that printed on before? Or
Oh, I'll show you. So the haiku project it's these signs and they're at 3 intersections along University Avenue. What we did is we worked with a high school English class and a high school graphic design class, and we gave them like particular Pantone colors that they could choose from for the designs. But the English classes wrote the haikus first, and they were supposed to be related to pedestrian safety.
Yeah.
So like this one, you can see like, be careful while you're driving, I'm biking. But they're unique messages. This actually came from an idea that Rob Conheim found in the New York Times. And it was a professional artist who had done both the haiku and the design. I still have the article on in my office. But we adapted it and had the high school kids write the haikus, and then other students could pick which one they wanted to illustrate. And it was just a cool project, and it's relatively inexpensive. It was only about $100 per sign, I think.
this reminds me of do you guys know Trent Miller? He's from the Madison Public Library. He's head of all of the arts programming there. And him and his wife, so he's an artist and his wife is a writer, and they partner up, and she did a poem and he did kind of like the graphic. But what they did, they ended up printing everything on these yard signs, and people all over Madison bought these yard signs and put them on their house lawns. So it became this thing that united all of the neighborhood, all these neighborhoods, because you would just drive around neighborhoods and you would see the signs with these poems and these graphics. And it was just a cool thing that allows people in the neighborhood to have access to this work. They don't have to go somewhere, it's just in the neighborhood. And I thought that was such a, yes, that. And so they just, and it was just cool. I loved seeing these in different people's homes and different people's yards.
So the only thing I see about that is I just tried to do yard signs for somebody who's running for school board, and a lot of people are anti-yard sign. Almost everyone was
really?
like, no, I am like strictly against yard signs.
Like
So-
political ones or just in general?
Well, this is for the school board.
Oh, so it's political.
Yeah.
but
I just think these are they're like poetic, and so they're more.
and you put them in your own yard, is that correct? So
Yeah, so people bought them and they just put them in their yards.
if you don't want it in your yard, you don't have to get one.
Yeah,
Just as long as we don't print a whole bunch of them and nobody wants to put them out.
these ones sold out in Madison.
That's cool.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Oh, it could be a fundraiser too.
Mm-hmm.
an
There you
interesting.
go. I
And
like
it-
that idea.
If we could get the seniors interested in that. Molly, what do you think about this? Molly's still there?
I'm still here and I don't have any thought on it.
Do you think folks in the senior center might be interested?
No,
No?
Hmm.
Oh, well, we'll have to think about it some more maybe.
Yeah.
Okay,
I have a quick question about the grant funding. This is Christina.
mhm.
And I'm wondering, Abby, does that grant that you're looking at have to be for a piece of public art, or can it fund an art activity?
It could be an activity. This is, yeah, it looks like it's pretty open, but it's just like a unique idea and you have to get it done quickly. Low cost.
So to me, that makes more sense of an event than instead of a public art piece, because we don't have to like be prepared to live with it forever. It's a little bit easier to get a quick response for an event. And something that just comes off the top of my head is the Museum of Wisconsin Art does their chalk festival every summer. And you can sign up. They have like a Chalk the State program and essentially participate. And so do like a weekend in July of sidewalk chalk downtown or something like that. So it's like a one-off quick event, easier to plan for, and then maybe, you use some of that grant money to provide the chalk to people or provide like an ice cream social for kids afterwards or some kind of activity that's art related instead of public art. Maybe something to think about.
That would be something that would probably be okay to do outdoors and physically distanced. The Community Development Authority has also expressed interest in doing some kind of chalk art project. There was one member in particular who was suggesting that we do 2 scale versions of the solar system, but not just have them in the downtown necessarily, have them all over the city, and then give people like a map to go find whatever planet it is, and then they would be drawn so that they're to scale as they are in the solar system, if that makes sense. That was Kieran, Meg.
Yeah, I talked to him about it the other day.
So he's still interested.
I think they're all great ideas. I think we come back to the same issue where it's like, how do we prioritize what?
Well, maybe we should look at the short-term ideas that we had in our work plan.
Mhm.
See if there's one of those we can do that doesn't require people gathering together in COVID times.
Mm.
So ripple effects, we did that. We could of course easily pay Donna to do some more of those stormwater murals. That's a possibility. We talked about the warning signs. Quadrant rust removal is done. Wrapping utility boxes is still at play, and that's relatively low cost. It's probably $1,000 per box.
That's
And
a
we
nice
have-
one for COVID too, because you wouldn't be gathering.
Yeah, and we have all the details on that from Karen Wolf at the City of Madison. And we've already like surveyed all the utility boxes in town and measured them. We would just need to get permission.
So would we do like a call for art then in the area and people would submit it and then we would vote on artwork?
I would think so.
And you have prices for like printing cost?
I have the prices, but unfortunately the company that she liked the best went out of business. It was in Cross Plains and it was in business for like 40 years and they went out of business.
Do you remember how much it was?
Yeah, I can look it up. Let's see.
So you said it was like 1,000 per box to wrap it?
I think it was $750 to print and install with a vandalism proof coating, and that you would also need to have a stipend to pay the artist, but Karen said that it doesn't have to be as much as you would think because they're not developing like their own piece. They're just using something that they already have and selling you the rights to it.
Yeah.
How many do we have? How many utility boxes?
Oh, we have more than we could possibly.
So we're just looking
Cover.
at the ones in downtown.
Yeah, I think let me see if I can pull up the file that I think I had an intern a few years back, like survey them and measure them. Let me see. It's probably in here. No. Oh, it's probably in my current projects because it was a current project at one point. Here we go,
Here it is.
utility boxes. Okay, yeah, we had actually applied for a local Spark grant application for that one, but we didn't get it. Oh, and we applied for a Dane County environmental grant. We didn't get that either. That was when we were trying to partner with the sustainability committee and try to make the utility boxes so that they could both be art, but also help share the word that the city had approved 100% renewable energy resolution. Here's
Still
the
a cool
invent-
idea.
Yeah, so we have this one here at Parmenter and Terrace Avenue. Molly probably sees that one a lot on her walks. Parmenter and University east of PDQ. I'm not sure if that's still there or not. Parmenter by the Middleton Vet Hospital. I think I asked him to just focus on Parmenter because we were trying to like consolidate the artwork around the spine. So we have lots. Here's
Now,
one on Branch Street though.
is this something we could involve seniors in, or is this more of a project for the committee this year?
I think this would probably be something we would do a call for artists on, and it would just be open to all ages.
Okay.
Here, let me pull up my notes from my conversation with Karen, because there's a lot of good information she gave, and these are just my rough notes, so sorry if stuff's misspelled in here. Yeah, so this company was the one that she liked the best, Ad Creations, but they're not in business anymore. She mentioned that this other company that they had worked with hadn't been very careful on wrapping the corners. So there was some edges that were like peeling up and weren't holding up as well as she had hoped. They initially did a pilot project, but she didn't know if they would do a pilot anymore because they had to like lay out the design and it was a lot of work for them. So she thought that maybe they would want to have like, you know, a handful of these if they were going to do it. She thought they would last 10 years, anti-graffiti coating, clean the vinyl when it's graffitied. She would discourage using a white background because she said it just doesn't look as good, and also discourage travel photos. Oh, they also included the artist's name on the box, which I think is a nice touch. And they're creating a map of artwork. They have a lot of these in Madison now. They're really cool. So, you know, that's an idea.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let me show you the brochure in case you haven't seen them. Oh, actually, this is a brochure from California. They had a similar project there.
So I guess the question is this a project we want to pursue this year? Or do we want to think about other possible projects? We don't necessarily have to come to a conclusion in this meeting, but I guess it depends on how you think you'd like to proceed.
Do you guys want to go down the rest of the 1 year and, you know, like the short-term ones quick?
Yeah.
So there's Project Middleton, which would also be COVID friendly, was pretty well received, but is a ton of work.
Yeah, I don't think we have anyone on the committee right now who can do that.
Yeah.
Like Rihanna was there all the time.
Yeah. With technical difficulties and restringing the internet. We were at Hubbard Avenue Diner until like 11 o'clock every night trying to.
Oh, God.
And then I was out there in the rain, like going by at night to turn it off every night because it wasn't automatically shutting off when it was supposed to. It was a nightmare project, to be honest.
Maybe we need to move project to the finished category and return the video equipment.
Well, we have returned the
Oh, you did.
expensive equipment.
Okay.
They've like given us an open invitation to borrow it anytime we want. I still like wish that there was a way to make that happen like on a regular basis because I think it's so cool, but it's just a lot of work.
Maybe we could pull it out for like special occasions, like if we ever did the art walk again or something like that, we could set it up for that. Or if we did the stock event, maybe we could do it for that, or I don't know, something like that.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
At some point in time, there will be like festivals again.
Yeah. Well, and here's the salt shed mural. We're done with that. One of the ideas we had talked about was having an artist in residence at the recycling center for like just Saturdays when people are coming through. We could have an artist working there with things that they've pulled out of the dumpster and creating so that people who come through the recycling center could enjoy that. The master plan for the conservancy, I think, is pretty well underway. So there might still be an opportunity to get involved with that. The Branch Street Trailhead is getting ramped up right now. And we definitely should try to get artwork included in that project. We're applying for a grant and our application is due in May, and we'd like to construct a portion of the trailhead next year. It would probably just be the parking lot along with a pedestrian bridge to cross Pheasant Branch Creek. The reason that it's a high priority right now is because we learned from the county that they're going to be replacing the Century Avenue Bridge. So if you take the creek corridor and you walk the trail, you have to go up to grade at Century Avenue and cross at grade there. But because the county is replacing the bridge, we can put the trail beneath Century Avenue. And this has been like a high priority for many, many, many years for our Ped Bike Transit group. So the council supports us doing that. As of Tuesday night, they voted to support that. Then the Common Ground site, which is on the corner of Branch and Century and the business closed there, that is a prospective redevelopment site now. There's a developer who wants to build apartments there. And because that's used for parking, that disrupts that. And so now we need to find where people can park for the conservancy in that location, because they're not going to have that option anymore. So what we're trying to do is, because we're already spending all of the money on the Century Avenue Bridge, we're going to try to say that that is our matching funds and put it together with the trailhead so that we can apply for funding to get the trailhead at least started next year. So
Do you-
that would be an awesome opportunity for art.
Mhm.
Do you think it would be TIF eligible?
Yes, I do. TIF 5. Yep.
Cool.
And I think it's actually going to serve a pretty important purpose there, because so our public lands director and I are in a disagreement about how the orientation of the trailhead should be, because I think that buildings should be close to the street and the parking should be hidden behind a building. But in this case, he would like to have it flipped so that the trailhead, the actual shelter, is overlooking the conservancy land, and he wants the parking in the front. And that's okay, but we need to screen public parking from the street. And so I'm concerned if we go with that it's not going to be very visible, because there's a really pretty large apartment building now right next to there. And I'm afraid that people won't see and know what is there. So if we had like a gateway feature, like an arch or something that would go over the entrance drive, that could say, like, it could be a piece of artwork. Like, what do you guys remember what Banak Tamavang? Do you remember that arch
Yeah,
that you know what I'm talking about?
yeah.
Something like that would be really cool at the trailhead, I think.
I mean, especially if it's TIF eligible, then it doesn't have to just come out of our budget.
Mm-hmm. That's true, but funds are limited, especially in TIF District 5. But we might be able to write that into our grant application, actually. If I remember correctly, I remember thinking that Banak's stuff was really reasonably priced. Maybe, like, I don't know, 30,000, if that's considered reasonably priced.
There's also another artist I could recommend for that project. His name is Peter Flannery.
Okay.
He is a Wisconsin artist, and I have been working with the Great Sauk State Trail to build art on the trail there, and he's building us an arch to be installed this coming summer. So he's not like as great with email. He's a phone call kind of guy, but he's really talented and easy to work with.
Cool. Is he in Mineral Point?
That sounds right, but I can't remember positively off the top of my head. But Peter Flannery is his name.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to pull him up. I found him. I just didn't have his name spelled right the first time. Oopsie. Okay. So this is Peter. Oh, that's cool. Are those boulders inside of these? Looks
Yes,
like-
so he'll often work with materials that get excavated out of a site to whatever building project they're doing, and he'll add them back in using art.
Cool. Oh, I've seen this before, I think. Cool. And here's the thing I
Ooh.
was talking
That
about.
was the Bannock one, yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's really cool. I like
That's
that.
stunning.
Every time I look at it, I just think, oh, that belongs like at the entrance to the conservancy. I
Yeah.
don't know. So we've got a lot to think about. These aren't going to be our this year project, but we should be looking at doing something, it sounds like, at the trailhead for sure. So let's go back to our short-term ideas. Oh, we still need to work on this, which is decision making and Brad. And then the community campus RFP has already gone out. We've already selected an architect, and we did include public art in that RFP.
About the window downtown.
Oh yeah, you wanted to talk about that, Molly.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Well, which window is it?
Okay, so are you talking about the T-wall project?
Yeah.
Okay, let me see if I can pull up their plans.
Is it it's on Parmenter and Terrace?
It's facing Terrace, and there are several, I think, several windows there. And I did share all that information that we talked about at the last meeting with Jake Buns from T-Wall, and he was going to follow up on it. So he was going to look at all the artists that we recommended, and he watched the video of the arts committee meeting since he couldn't make it. So
Being it's in the historic district, that I think that for a window to have something of historic significance of Terrace Avenue. And
Oh.
I spoke with Jeff Martin, president of the Middleton Historical Society, about the possibility of have reproductions of the historic Middleton photographs in that window.
Mm-hmm.
And he said he would assist you in seeing the numerous historic photographs of Middleton, from which you could select any to have made into whatever size you chose. And he said those would be no cost to the Arts Commission for the use of whatever material is selected. And I've lived one house away from Terrace Avenue since 1965. And when I'm in downtown Middleton, it's been by foot. So I've often been stopped by tourists to ask what there is to see. And I do have and I think that the window on the new building is in a prominent location, and a windows display that celebrates Middleton history would adorn the building and enhance the streetscape. And Mr. Fauci's recent donation of 10 million for a new Wisconsin Historical Society building would, I think, also spark interest in Middleton's history. And a display of early photographs of buildings along Parmenter Street is something that would be appreciated by residents and visitors. And I do have a photo of Terrace Avenue.
I have that picture framed and hanging in my son's room.
And then there's another one of higher up on Parmenter Street, which is probably south. Oh, let's see if we can get this is the same location, Terrace Avenue.
Cool.
And then here's the,
Is that what is now the Hope House, right?
this is
that-
the top of the, this would be South Avenue at the top. But South Avenue probably wasn't built then, but they're shot from the same location.
That's cool. That's a good idea, Molly.
And Kathleen Olson, who's our alderman, said that she would prefer something historic for the downtown area.
Would you all like me to share that idea with Jake and tell him that the Historical Society is willing to provide the imagery?
Yes.
Okay. I will send him an email and let him know. The Historical Society has been so great to provide images. We're doing a donor wall on the Stonehorse Green, and they gave us like 60 high quality historic pictures, and Rob actually sponsored one of them. I can't remember which picture you selected though, Rob.
It was a horse and carriage.
Okay, for Stonehorse Green. Cool.
So along the same lines with the history thing, which would be really cool if they went that route, there's this thing, I know this is controversial in the city, however, it does wash away. There's this thing one artist did that was like painting on, I have it right here. Let's see if I can
Let me
get
stop share again so you can make it bigger.
it. They paint like the timeline. So you walk around and you see like what happened at that time at that location. So it'd be kind of fun if we could like pair something like that, where like you're standing at the library and you look down and there's a year and it's like in 1929, this was, I don't know what it was, but you know, like a stable, whatever.
That would be interesting.
I love
Like
that
a
idea.
walking tour.
How do they
love that.
get it on the concrete? I love it too.
I think they made stencils. I could look into it and see exactly how they did it. I think they made stencils and they spray painted it. So it would come off. It would be temporary. When it's coming off, it'll look tacky, but it's meant to only be there for a period of time.
That's cool.
Mhm.
Something to add to the list. We have so
Yeah,
many.
make sure to put that on your chart. That's
Okay,
really
could that be part of, could that be a project that the grant would go for?
I would think so.
Possibly, but there's somebody in the city who doesn't like us painting on the sidewalk, right?
Yeah, our public works director.
Oh, really?
It
Not
might-
even the sidewalk?
He doesn't even like chalk on the sidewalk. I bet he would let, I could convince him though. That's pretty cool. I mean, he let us do the ripple effects project, and that's basically on the sidewalk for the most part.
Mhm.
It's on the terrace, but
Mhm.
We could sweet talk him into it.
I think we could. That's really cool. I wonder if the Historical Society would partner with us and maybe even help fund it.
Yeah, possibly. I don't think it would cost very much. I guess we'd have to see how much it is to print stencils.
Mhm.
I wouldn't imagine it would be very much though.
Those look really small. Are they like, how do you read them?
Oh,
Show it
it's
again.
it's probably bigger when you're standing on it, but.
Will you send it to us via email?
That I had.
Oh, that's cool.
I mean, you could print the details larger if you wanted to.
I like that.
Me
I can send it to you if you. I'll send it to you.
Okay, and I can distribute it to everybody. Cool.
Anything else you want to talk about with respect to future projects?
We didn't decide like what we want to prioritize. I don't know if you guys wanted to make a decision on what to prioritize this year, or if you just want to keep thinking about it. When's that grant application due though? We do need to, I mean, if we are going to try to get that $1,000 grant,
Mhm.
You said mid-March, I think, didn't you?
Yeah, I think it's the 17th. Yeah. So we would need to,
Do that
I mean,
pretty.
our next meeting isn't until the 18th.
Is there somebody at the senior center that we could talk to? Like, does Sandy still work there? Sandy Whitney?
I don't think she works there anymore.
Oh.
Tammy Derrickson is the director now, and then Ted Quincy does like programming and stuff. I think he took over for Sandy.
Hmm. Could we reach out to them and just see if this is something that would be interested in before we make any decisions?
I forwarded this to Tammy when I first got it, but which ones are you thinking? Like which projects
Oh,
would
sorry,
we ask?
back to the haiku, the original
The
one.
Oh, okay. The warning signs?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll see. Like, I don't know if they have a writers group or anything like that. I mean, does anybody go there or know about it? Let me look and see if they have anything on their website. Middleton Senior Center.
We did have a writers group that was meeting sometimes at the senior center and sometimes at the library. But now I think they're not meeting since COVID.
Okay. So maybe this would like
I
kind
can-
of be a cool way to get them re-engaged. Well, I don't know if they can.
I
Do you
can
think
give you the contact person.
that would be
I'll-
great?
I'll drop it off at your office.
Okay, thank you. Do you think that the seniors like would, I mean, Molly, you're pretty tech savvy. Would most of the senior center people jump on a Zoom meeting? Probably not.
I can't speak for them. The senior center has been closed for so long.
Yeah. Well, maybe it could be like a mailing to that group. You know, we send out a mailing and describe like what we're looking for, and we ask them to mail their entries back or something.
Well, they've had something in quite often where they know each other and they do have an email link, I think, but I'll get you that information.
Okay, cool. That'd be fun. That would be a fun project. And it's like multi-generational.
Mm-hmm.
It's low cost. We could get it done quickly. I think it's a great thing to do during COVID. I like that idea. Okay. Thanks, Molly.
Do we need to make a motion on that, or is that good?
I don't think we need to. But if the senior center isn't interested at all in pursuing it, then we would probably need a backup that we're gonna, if we want to apply for the grant. So would you want the utility boxes to be the backup?
Sure, I'm fine with that. Anyone else?
Sounds good to me.
I agree. Utility boxes.
So the utility boxes, that's for the $1,000 grant? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, which would mean that we
It was
would,
just for one utility box.
yeah, that would only be for one, and they're probably gonna want to match. So you're probably gonna have to get at least two, or if you wanted to get three and then just have the grant pay for one, and then we would pay for two out of our budget.
Is there a cheaper version of that than $750, did you say?
750 is the cost that the company charges to take the image that's submitted, and then they have to do formatting work to figure out how it's going to print and get wrapped on the boxes. Then they print the vinyl, they come out and install the vinyl, and then they put a vandal proof coating on the vinyl. And I don't think we're going to find it any cheaper than $750, but I could be
That
wrong.
seems pretty inexpensive to me.
I think that'd be a better use of $750.
You do?
Mhm.
Abby,
Because you have to take into account to the artist fee, right?
Yeah, that's not even counting.
When I did the downtown doors wrapping thing, they paid me $400 for my image.
Was that for like all the rights, or was that for, you know,
That was
one?
for being able to use it on the door.
Abby, you're muted.
That was purposeful. My son burst into here and was really
Oh.
loud. What did you say, Maria?
That was to be able to use the image on the door only.
Okay.
Mhm.
So yeah, we would definitely want to make sure we're paying the artists a fair price.
Mhm.
Abby, the material that is used, the vinyl, it's thinner than was used on the mock building, is that right?
The mock building is not vinyl, it's parachute cloth.
Oh, so my fault. So they don't work in vinyl, those artists.
I don't think so. The people that do the utility box wraps are the kind of companies that will wrap a vehicle
Yeah.
or a window. They're probably, well, actually, I wonder if that Penny Library one you gave me, Maria, would be another company that could do that.
Oh, maybe. The ones that they did the indoors with. Yeah,
Mhm.
maybe. Mhm.
We could get quotes, you know, we could get a couple quotes and see how the pricing comes in.
I'm interested in projects that can involve the youth in Middleton because I feel like they're suffering so much right now. So I know, you know, the seniors are too and everything, but the youth, everything's virtual, everything. Anything that the arts can do to help them connect with craft and with art is just a lifesaver right now for them. So I like the idea of a collaboration, you know, between youth and seniors, but I think anything that can continue to incorporate the youth somehow would be
Would
wonderful.
Would the stencils be a project to get high school students and seniors involved? Researching the history and then designing the stencils?
Mhm. We should get some pricing. Do you think somebody like Alpha Graphics would do that? I don't even know who does stencils.
So are they like spray painting it with stencils, or is that how it's being done?
So is
Look
the
like it.
paint, I have a question about that. Is the paint eco-friendly? Because I mean, if it, you know, washes away, I was curious if that's an option.
I feel like we can decide what they use, right? As the arts committee, and tell them that they had to use a certain paint, or maybe, I don't know who, we'd have to figure out who's spraying it. Are they just designing the stencils and then we're spraying it?
The thing about vinyl is it doesn't wash away. They use it actually to coat the entire exterior of automobiles. You can change the color of your car by having coated in vinyl. So that's going to be very weather.
I think we changed topics on you, Rob, without telling them.
Oh, sorry. I know you're talking about stencils,
Sorry.
but the stencils, you know, painting through stencils would have a durability issue.
So what do we want to do?
Do the boxes have to be wrapped? Can they be painted? I met a woman in New Orleans who headed up a project that they had involved college artists to create artwork to paint on the utility boxes down there. And there are a lot of them. She's been working on this project for a long time. And we actually stayed at a B&B that she owned, and that's how I met her. But they used outdoor paint and painted the images on. So I'm just curious if vinyl is, if it has to be vinyl or if it could be painted and then painted by the artist.
Megan, do you have any opinion about this?
If the vinyl wrapping will last 10 years, I don't think the paint will last that long. So that's not a concern, but it's just something to keep in mind.
Yeah, and I think the reason Madison did the vinyl is for that reason, longevity. But I think either one would work. Assuming that you know, even the utilities would approve it. I don't know what they would say, but they've been able to do it in Madison, so I'm guessing we could.
The other thing to keep in mind is that if is reversibility. So if the vinyl starts to look ratty, we can just cut it off. Whereas it's a lot more involved to remove a painted image from the actual box.
That's true. Well, why don't, how about I check with the senior center and see about idea number 1 and get their thoughts. And I don't think, I mean, we don't have to have all the details worked out of like what the haiku is how it's gonna read and how it's gonna look and all that, because we need to wait and see if we're gonna get the grant first. But we would need to be ready to act quickly to like start working with seniors and students. They wouldn't be young students, Maria, but I think the high school graphic design students did a great job.
Mm-hmm. I love that idea. I've also seen the idea on buses.
Like on the outside?
They partner with the public transportation. And so the text, they do a text and art collaboration, and that gets printed on a bus on the public transportation.
Inside the bus though, right? Not the exterior.
I think I've seen both.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, when I was at UW, there was a call for that where you as an artist partner with a writer, and your piece would be on the outside, a wrap on the bus.
Wow.
But I've also seen, when I go inside, I've seen the poems inside, the high schooler poems inside. So I've seen both. Mm-hmm.
When I was in Iowa City, they did they called it Poetry in Public, and they had poems on the buses.
Yeah. And, you know, some buses even have like pay for your advertisement here. I wonder how much they charge, and we could pay for a collaboration to go on there. I think that's a cool idea, to just have a movable piece.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The bus ridership is down a lot right now, but hopefully it'll start to get back to normal.
Yeah.
Soon.
As a backup plan, like if the senior thing doesn't work out, could we just move to only working with the high schoolers again? That would just mean we wouldn't get the grant, correct? Is that?
Well, I think we probably could still get the grant. I mean, it doesn't say it has to be a senior project. I just thought that would resonate more with them.
Mm-hmm. So maybe that's our backup plan, is that if the senior thing doesn't work out, the second step is only to go back and work with the high schoolers like we did the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And if that doesn't work out, then we can go back to the utility wraps and discuss that more, because that seems like a much larger project that we might not be able to tackle this year.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that sounds good.
Should we move on to working group updates? Or is there anything else you want to discuss with respect to future projects?
I think there is more that we need to discuss, but let's start working on the master plan, because I think that's going to help us focus a little bit more on our future projects and realign our goals, short and long-term goals. And then we can maybe discuss that at one of the future meetings a little bit more. And that would also be a good time to maybe have the document open and we can start adding more ideas to it, to our reservoir, whatever you want to call it. So I wanted to just discuss the working groups, because I had kind of fallen off on working on the working groups due to COVID. And we did meet before all this happened. I guess I'm only on the marketing group. Well, Art Walk is not happening, so maybe that one needs to be hidden for a while. But I am on the marketing group, and I realized the other day, like, we haven't done anything in terms of marketing or trying to, which we still could be doing during this. And so I kind of just want it on as a reminder.
You just want to keep it on the agendas?
Yeah, and I don't know if we need to have like key points that we're working on.
Maybe that's in the work plan too.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Like have a whole separate section for working groups
Mm-hmm.
and what our current projects are. I think sometimes it's hard to keep everything all organized. And so I'm hoping that the strategic plan that we work on will help with that a little bit. Because there are a
Mhm.
lot of great ideas. And I just want to make sure that we don't lose some of those. Like Krista was on the marketing group with before us, and she did a ton of work
Mhm.
preparing things. And it's like, okay, we need to go back to that and start working on some of those items. But I don't know. Anyone else have any feedback? No?
Well, the next agenda item is discussing the working group, so maybe we could discuss it there.
Isn't that what we're doing?
Is there a list of the historic markers in the community?
Do you mean the landmarks, the historic landmarks?
Yes, could the youth somehow find what they were, or it'd be kind of a history lesson? Like maybe there could be a prize for the number that they could come up with, or else what was that game that the kids were playing when they were, what was that
The
called?
candy cane game?
No, it was, no, there was when they got a clue and they went to the spot.
Oh, is it Pokemon? The Pokemon thing? Or no?
Yeah, I think it was something.
Scavenger
like
hunt.
Doing it.
Is that what you're thinking?
I've forgotten the name of it, where there'd be something, I would see kids going around town with this direction thing, and one was near my house, and I always knew when I saw them come up the sidewalk what they were looking for.
Oh,
Sorry.
well, we
What
do
if we
have,
set meetings? What if we said working group meetings again, just to touch base and kind of catch up and set goals? And
That's a good idea. Because I know, like, for the marketing and communications group, we were going to come up with a communications plan.
Mhm.
That has not happened yet, but I do think Chris has started it. So yeah, maybe we could just schedule respective meetings. Some of them don't need to happen though, so I don't know how we decide what
I
needs.
have everything that's ever been emailed to me by anybody. So if you're gonna meet and you're like, wait, I don't have the documents, you can let me know and I can dig it up.
So we don't need to do anything with Art Walk. Do we need to do anything with developer working group right now? Are there any-
That's like basically the percent for arts item now, or the developer funding.
so people are
That's
working.
why I added Koopman. Christina, I just put you on there because you weren't originally on it, but that's basically what it's transitioned into, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. That's fine. I mean, maybe this is jumping to the next bullet point. I don't have an update for that. We haven't met since the last meeting. But I think it's appropriate to make that like the percent for art essentially group.
Mhm.
Okay. So before the next meeting, the percent for art group will meet. The maintenance group has already met and sent me, let me see. Let me pull it up here. I gotta remember where I put it. So we have an adopted maintenance plan for public art, but the maintenance subcommittee met and developed objectives, lessons, and action items.
Awesome.
So Megan Mackey sent me this today. And Michael is not here. Did you want to go over this, Megan?
I think it's pretty self-explanatory. I was trying to get to lay out goals that the committee could routinely either do proactively or talk about at each meeting. I'm happy to go over with it, but I think it's pretty self-explanatory.
Is the
You just
date,
want me to send it to the whole committee?
Sure. Yeah, it's a lot of questions. There's a lot of questions that we as a group have never really asked ourselves. And we've kind of done it ad hoc. For example, when we had to do the quadrants treatment, we were asking ourselves all these questions, but it only applied to that particular project. I think it would be good for us to have these questions answered so that the next time it comes up, we already know, we've already decided.
is the date at the top correct? It says 2020.
Yep, that's when Michael and I met.
Okay, all right.
Yep.
Seeing,
This is like a good list to go before signing off of some project, art project of some sort, right?
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. I feel like we should have people who are in charge of different things, like maintaining documentation and like, for example, I went, and the only reason that we knew about the bullet holes in self-made man is because I went and I looked at it. So that's something that we should have. We should have people going and looking at our art to check up on it on a regular schedule.
it's always sad to see a piece of art or anything vandalized. It just detracts so much from it. And I always feel sad. I just wish there were more of a penalty for it.
Maybe this is something that each person in the committee could have one thing that they need to check on. Like, for instance, I'll do self-made man, for instance, and I just like once a month go drive by it and just make sure it looks okay. And
Yes.
everyone has their specific artwork, so it's not one person who has to check every piece of artwork. So that seems like a lot.
I did check to see if the plaque had been installed in the police station, and the last time I was there, it had not, so.
Okay.
I
I'll
have a
find-
drill. I can go over there, put my mask on. This is where it's going.
It must not be our police captain's top priority. I'll send him an email again and see.
It won't be for a while.
Put my offer in there. Tell them I'll come install it.
Okay, I'll tell them you're gonna show up with your drill if they don't hurry up and get it installed.
You'll have to get it through their metal detector.
That's funny. Okay, so for the working groups, should we just say that the active working groups need to be on every agenda so that we always have accountability? And even if there isn't an update, at least it's on there so we know that we need to be actively working on these things.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good idea.
So for the maintenance one, Megan, do we just need to review the document that Abby sends and we're going to discuss it at the next meeting?
I think that's a good idea. Yeah.
And then Maria, who else is with us? Oh, and Megan, although Megan's leaving soon. So maybe just Maria and I can meet. Do you want to be included, Megan?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, for the marketing, so we can set up a separate Zoom.
Oh, for the marketing.
Yeah, do you want to be included in that? I think you just volunteered because we lost Carissa. Probably not.
Probably not. No.
I can do marketing and communications.
Okay, cool.
So Abby, when you send the Michael's and my document out, could you also send the maintenance plan that's already part of the?
Yep. I'll just forward the email you sent.
Okay.
It
great.
had both attached, right?
It did.
Okay. No problem.
Thank you.
This might be a dumb question, but for scheduling working group meetings, what is the appropriate workflow with open records? Like, are we allowed to schedule and meet on our own terms? Abby, does this has to go through you? How is the best way to move forward with scheduling and having these meetings?
You can email to other committee members without violating the open meetings law.
You can't have a quorum.
Right. So if you had 5 out of 9, that would be a quorum. I think technically you could have 4, but I would say all of our working groups are 3 or fewer. So if you wanted to email 2 other members, that would be fine.
Okay, thank you. That's helpful.
Mhm.
Any more discussion about the working groups? Should we go to the next agenda item?
I don't know if there is another, because Christina and I haven't met on the percent for arts. So I think that's it.
Okay, anything else anybody want to talk about?
I have a
So if-
question about the application. Are we all applying for being part of the committee again, or how does that work? I've never done the reapplication thing again.
You'll get a notice from the mayor.
And then, okay,
It's
So the way that it works is if your term is up, you have to reapply. And that's just the rule.
how do I know if my term is up? Because I get the email from the mayor.
So in 2021, Rob, Megan, but Megan's already decided not to reapply. Meg McCombs, Michelle Phillips, and Maria will get an email from the city clerk. And you need to reply back and let her know that you got it. And I think that she sends something to schedule your appointment in there with the mayor.
I already
Okay.
got one.
I haven't
All
gotten one. It's the 31st, right, of March, Abby, the deadline.
I am not sure about that, actually. I should know, but I don't. But did you get the email?
No.
Oh, you didn't get one, Michelle?
Mm-mm.
Okay, I'll flag that for Lori Burns and let her know. Did everybody else whose term is up in 2021 get the email?
I did.
I did.
I got something from the mayor.
Okay. And
did
Michelle,
that email? I'm
you
sorry,
got it?
I did. Did I read somewhere? I only skimmed it because we're moving. But did it say something about limiting number of terms?
You said if you
Yeah,
have
so
been-
his new rule is he only wants committee members to serve 2 terms.
Yeah, I could be fired. I haven't received that notification yet, but it's certainly a possibility.
Me too.
How long is a term considered? 2 years?
2 years, yeah.
Oh, so this would be my last term. Okay.
No, you're Maria, you're probably just on your first term because your term is 2019 to 2021.
And then I'm gonna, if I reapply, then that would be my last term, 2021 to 2023.
Possibly. I think it
Possibly,
depends.
that's our current mayor's rule.
Well, that would be a huge disappointment to me if I weren't moving. I hope that he doesn't keep that rule.
You can share your thoughts with him if you'd like. I know, like, as somebody who staffs like 7 or 8 committees, it is really nice to have committee members who have been on for a few terms, that kind of have the historical perspective and feel like they can speak up. And when you first join a committee, it can be a little intimidating to speak up right away. So I like having people who have served a couple terms. I don't like the constant rotating, committee members, because it can be really hard to like get everybody on the same page. So.
Anything else
Okay, well,
anybody
good
want
luck
to
to
discuss?
viewers.
Sorry?
I'm just saying good luck to the people who are reapplying and interviewing with the mayor.
So do we need a motion to adjourn?
Sure, I can make a motion to adjourn.
I second.
So Meg motions and Megan.
Molly.
seconds?
Molly.
Molly, okay. So all in favor, say
Aye.
aye. Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. Thank you. Have a wonderful night.
Thank you.
Abby, I wanted to ask you a quick question. Was that Truman on your lap?
That was Truman with the hair that's too long, and then Harvey popped in for a minute too. I had both of my kids in here and they were being really loud. Sorry.
I wanted to ask Truman when he thought he was going to get a dog.
Oh, he like asks for a dog every day. Seriously,
Oh, I figured.
he wants a dog.
Okay.
Yeah.
I won't rub it in anymore.
Yeah, don't rub it in.
Okay.
All right. Bye.
Bye.